Hey everybody, and welcome to the 22nd episode of Brent Ewing's Hey Buddy podcast and week 6 of the Michigan football Big Ten football podcast with my co-host Bub Dunn. This week's episode, we discussed the debacle in Ann Arbor, just a dumpster fire in Ann Arbor right now, and so we're going to touch on that. We're going to touch on Michigan Penn State. We're also going to touch, like we always do, on the rest of the Big Ten. And we also delve into Michigan basketball a little bit as it started back up this weekend. So without further ado, we're going to hop right into it this week, guys. Hope you guys enjoy the episode.
Well, hey, man, let's hop right into this.
All right, bud.
0-5 Penn State team comes into the big house thinking, man, maybe we can get a win. I kind of thought, first of all, we were in a no-win situation regardless.
Absolutely.
You win that game and, you beat an 0-5 team. You lose that game and you lost to an 0-5 team. You're kind of in a no-win situation, and unfortunately, man, they jumped out early and they held that lead. That's 7-0 on that opening drive. Just kind of set the tone, and they never looked back.
Yeah, they did. I mean, and they made it look easy, to be honest. They run, pass. A good mix of run and pass. Quite a few missed tackles. I know Vincent Smith had a really big missed tackle there, which could have really kind of stopped that drive. Play action pass, the slant. We've said it. We've harped on it. We'll probably continue to say it because I don't think anyone's actually going to do anything about it. But if we could defend the slant, it would really make our lives a lot easier. But like you said, they jumped up to that big lead and didn't look back, and they made that first drive just look so effortless.
I read a stat that said that was the 7th straight game that we were down 7-0.
Wow.
So you're playing from behind. 7 games in a row you're playing from behind. And I was kind of surprised when they came out with Clifford as the starting quarterback, because Levis had came in there last week and played, but Clifford's tough. Clifford has some talent. He's had a bad year this year, but man, they're depleted as well. I mean, they're down to their 4th string running back who came in, a true freshman, ran it down our throats, made Don Brown look absolutely stupid.
Yeah, I agree. And like you said, Clifford, he's tough, man. I actually wrote down quite a few big shots that he took. I mean, he took quite a few hits to the ribs, one to the knee. Obviously, that one was inadvertent. I think the guy got pushed into him. Mm-hmm. But I counted at least 3 or 4 really just big hits that he got knocked down. And, other than the one with the knee, he pretty much got back up, and then eventually he did come back in. And they really only used Levis when they used him as a run, to run the ball. The short yardage, need one or 2 yards, and I don't know if they were trying to, it was more of like a wildcat or just to drop back, and if it's the pass isn't there, then take off. But there were quite a few designed runs that he had too.
Absolutely, and you know how it goes with us. We're unable to defend a slant and B, a running quarterback. They just eat our lunch.
Yeah, that's the truth.
It's been like that for quite a while, but yeah, man, they got that 7-0 lead, and a couple drives later we were able to come down and do a couple things, and Haskins kind of got off and had a big 61-yard run, which looked nice.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, we scored a touchdown, but Cade gets hurt. Cade leaves the game,
right?
Which kind of, again, it's like, here we go. How does this always happen, man? I think he left at 7-7, right? It was tied up when he left the game.
It was. He actually, Haskins had that big 61-yard run to lead it down. And I got to say this, or Don's going to really give it to me. I got to give props to number 77, redshirt freshman Trevor Kerrigan, who really had just an outstanding drive, really, on that whole drive.
Absolutely.
That 61-yard run, he had a great block. I don't know if it was the next play, but the play that Cade actually got hurt on, when he rolled out, they actually pulled 77 out to be protection for Cade on that one. And he did a great job blocking there. And then on the next play, when they ran the ball in, they ran it behind the opening that Keegan opened up. So really fantastic drive by the offense, and especially performance by him, because he really helped that out. But yeah, it was that play that he rolled out on and got hurt, and then the next play we ended up handing off, and then the next drive Milton was out there.
Right, yeah. And Haskins, man, for that touchdown run, Haskins plowed that kid over, didn't he, to get into the end zone?
Yeah,
That was a nice. That was a nice hard run. Nice to see. Okay, swing that momentum back to us. 7-7, tie it up. But that was pretty much it. After that point, man, it was they went down and scored again late in the first half to go up 14-7. Thought, okay, we're gonna get the ball back with some time. Maybe we can drive down, get a field goal, something. And of course, Sanders still muffs that punt and gives it right back to him, and they kick a field goal and go up 17-7 at half. And with Milton in there, man, it come in and threw a dime on his first pass. Looked pretty good. Like, man, okay.
Yeah, he did.
Okay. One thing I didn't understand, he comes in and Mike Golick, who's doing the game. I like Golick. I think he's a pretty good announcer, but he comes in, he's like, oh, Milton didn't start today. Maybe he was banged up a little bit. Maybe that got him the rest that he needed. I'm like, the rest that he needed, he set out 3 quarters, 2.5 quarters,
right,
4 and a half a quarter of this game. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, you're right.
But he threw that dime on that first pass, looked good, and then the wheels fell off. I think that on the third down, he bounced it like 12 feet in front of the guy. Just unbelievable. He's so lost.
Yeah,
he's
I agree. And like you said, big momentum shift there, because they had actually, when we had to punt on our first possession, they got the ball, drove down the field, and missed the field goal.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so you miss the field goal, we take over, and then that's when Cade drives him down the field. I think it was actually the next play after the field goal, or missed field goal, that he had that big 60-yard run.
Yeah, right.
And then you get a touchdown there. You turn around and get them to go 3 and out and force a punt. Of course, then you've got Milton comes in. I'm like, well, that's okay. Momentum, missed field goal, touchdown, 3 and out. We can keep it going. First play, Evans runs right up the middle for 13. Next run is like an 8-yard run.
Right.
And then it's like up the middle, and they cannot get 2 yards in 2 plays. That's when they went 4th and 2 and they didn't get it. It was 3rd and 2 and they didn't get it. So then they ended up having to punt.
Right.
And it was tough. It just, really just took every bit of momentum that they had at that point and just completely flipped it the other way.
And the big thing on that muff punt, obviously, Giles Jackson's our normal kickoff and punt returner. He wasn't there. I've heard rumblings that he may be out for the season with a torn meniscus. I don't know if that's legit or not, but that obviously is a big spot. And Sanders still, unfortunately didn't come through when he needed to and coughed that up and got us behind early. But again, you go into half, man, you're down 17-7, but just could not come out and put anything together. I was hoping that third quarter, man, let's come out with some fire. Again, they just came out flat all game. Running out of the tunnel was flat. There's no emotion, especially when Milton's out there. Zero emotion. Cade came back in the third quarter after, being evaluated, taken to the locker room, probably x-rays, MRI, whatever, maybe get a shot. Comes back in. He just didn't have it. I mean, there was good defense by Penn State. It was a combination, I guess. Good defense by Penn State. Terrible play calling by Gaddis.
For sure.
I
really do think that the injury had more to do with our side than anything, because I really don't think he was 100%. I don't know if he was 75%, but you could tell, on some of them throws, he threw the ball decent, but it was those short, quick passes.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't even remember him taking shots down the field at all. And obviously, to get the ball down the field, you're really going to have to put something behind it. Mm-hmm. And I just don't think he had that. I really think his arm was hurting him.
I think the only shot downfield was to Henning late in the game, and Henning made a great catch, went up and got it, and got a little bit of fire going, but we didn't do anything with it. We kind of petered out on that drive. But again, after the game, reading rumblings, it sounds like Cade's probably done for the year too. So we go back to Milton, and it's just, thank God there's only 3 games left. Milton's just not ready. I read a thing on the blog today, or last night or today, that was talking about. Somebody had tweeted out something about, these guys aren't ready, what are they doing, whatever. And Jalen Mayfield's mom, offensive lineman's mom, tweeted back, the coaches put Joe in a position where he can't succeed. So even the players' moms, they've lost the players, now they're losing the players' families. Like, she's ripping on Gaddis and Harbaugh and Brown for not putting these guys in position to succeed. And I don't blame her, man. That's why I don't see Mayfield coming back this year. If I was him, I ain't coming back. Um, you got probably a pretty good career coming up in the NFL, man. Wind her down. I mean, you're coming back for this dumpster fire of a season, and to me, it's not worth it. I'd love to see him back.
For sure.
Quiddy Pay came back this week, and honestly, I thought Pay, he had one pressure that I remember um, watching it from a couple different angles. He was really slow on a couple plays. A couple plays, it looks like he looked like he gave up on, so he didn't really affect the game much. Obviously, Hutchinson's done for the year. It's just, man, it's just patchwork now. It's patchwork. Hopefully, I don't know.
It is.
Hopefully, they get some of those young guys in there, give them some work, and see how they do. But anyway, man, we like I said, we go in to halftime down 17-7. Come back in the third quarter. Moody hits a 40-yard field goal to cut it to 17-10. But yeah, didn't get any closer.
And I tell you what, you talk about that drive. I mean, even though we didn't score,
good drive.
That was probably one of the best drives I'd seen. I mean, they had, it was almost a 6-minute drive. Yeah, we didn't get the touchdown, but at least they got some points on it.
Mm-hmm.
But good overall, good mix of pass and throw and moving the ball around. Cade actually should have, and again, this could have been his arm hurting, but he missed Johnson. He threw it to the outside and actually went out of bounds. If he just would have threw it into the end zone, he could have ran right under it for a touchdown. That would have been a gimme.
I agree. Big miss right there.
Yeah, that hurt big time.
And at the end of the quarter, into the third quarter, Penn State runs it down. They kick a field goal. We hold them to a field goal, so 20-10. And then, man, we start out the fourth quarter. Haskins with another 2-yard run. Hey, 2017. We got a shot at this. But defense lets us down again, man. Penn State takes it down within about 5. I think it was right at 5 minutes. Penn State goes up 27-17. We get the ball, back. We're trying to. We got a big play called where Penn State should have taken over, but one of their players batted the ball back in bounds. So for some reason, it came back to Michigan. So they basically. I don't know that rule.
I've never seen that. I didn't either. And actually, Don was down here watching it, and we just kind of looked at each other like, what just happened? Like, I didn't know that you couldn't just legitimately bat a ball back in bounds. Like, I would have thought that was perfectly legal.
Right.
But apparently it's not. Apparently, if you go for it with the intent of trying to recover the ball and you do not recover the ball successfully and it happens to stay in bounds, then that's fine. But you apparently cannot just run up to a ball and bat it back in bounds, which makes no sense to me. And maybe it's on a college level. I don't know, because I've seen multiple plays where, like, a guy will, pass in the air and they'll go up and catch it and then throw it back in bounds for a guy who's still in bounds.
Right.
Or to me, it's the same thing as, a kick that lands just short or hits just short of the end zone and goes up in the air and is going to go into the end zone, and you bat it back so that it does not.
Yeah.
What makes the difference?
I don't know, man. And for that to give the offense the ball back, that was shocking. I thought maybe 10 or 15-yard penalty, but I thought, man, we got a little bit of life here. Of course, we get it up to midfield, man, 4th and inches. I thought he got it on 3rd down. But obviously they said he didn't. So 4th and inches, we finally get under center, and our 6'5" quarterback just has no idea what he's doing. Almost stands straight up, kind of just rolls to his left instead of diving hard forward or giving it to the side. Yeah, or giving it to Mason. Again, just terrible play calling the whole game. That pretty much sealed it. Final score 27-17 Penn State, man, and it's just. Play calling just killed us the entire game. Speed and space. I was watching a clip today of the game, and somebody was making fun of it, saying speed and space, and they had 4 wide receivers basically crossing the middle together within about 8 yards of each other. 4 guys. It's like, how you got to spread these guys out? What are you doing? And that's all coaching, man. That's all coaching.
It is. That's like you said, going back to that 3rd and 4th down play. You got a 6'5" QB. I completely understand, and I was happy to see them go under center for a change. They did that a couple times, actually. And I really thought on 3rd down, I did think he got it, but, obviously not my call. I really would have liked to have seen right then, because 4th and 1, they're going to go for it. They're going to key on that. That's when I really would have liked to have seen a bootleg. Fake and just come out to the edge, because they're not going to expect that at all. They are going to sell out for the middle, and I really think that would have worked. But again, it doesn't happen. They get the ball. And the big thing there was after they got the ball, they ran like five some odd minutes off the clock.
Correct.
It,
Right.
and I mean, it was absolutely just horrible. And this was the whole game. There was two things I wrote down about the defense and this is not only on that drive itself, but the whole entire game. Number one, their tackling was pathetic.
Tackling,
I could
absolutely.
not tell you how many tackles they just straight up A, missed, or B, hit the guy, but just hit him. Didn't try to tackle him or anything. It was like, I'm going to knock you down. No, that's not how it works. You've got to grab a hold of him and take him down. So horrible tackling for one, and not containing on the outside. The defensive ends, I don't, and this really hurts because that should be Aiden Hutchinson on that side where they ran the whole entire game. But there were so many plays there at the end, and I know two or three at least, where Penn State's running back ran up to the middle of the pile, had nowhere to go, but the next thing you know, the right side of the line is open, and he just runs out to the outside for like a good 15, 30-yard gain. Right. They were like two or three different times, and I'm like, where is the containment from the defensive end there? There was none.
Just bad all around. Again, the defense continues to let us down. There was a play early in the game. It was, I can't remember if it was second or third quarter, and there was I think it was like a 3rd and 10, and we had a safety come up on the ball, on a slot receiver. The safety drops like 15 yards, and they throw a slant right across the middle, pick up a first down on 3rd and 10. It's like, I could see that coming from a mile away. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, it's bad, and I guess it's because they feel that their safeties and DBs aren't good enough to play man coverage, so they want to blanket and drop them back a little bit to maybe only give up a certain amount. Well, they only need 10 yards or less. It's so going back 15 to 20 is not going to help any.
Yeah, man, super frustrating. Right. Brown again. Brown just, I mean, he each week you think that it can't get worse, and it just does. And he's frustrating. He's trying to, but man, it's time to go. It's time for a change. It's time to blow that up again.
I agree.
27-17. Just frustrating.
Real quick with I agree. And real quick, we talk about Dawn. Mm-hmm. They showed this was one of the first things they showed on the TV. It was his stats from 2016, 17, and 18. Our defense under him gave up basically 261, 271, 275 a game. So what's that average? Roughly 270.
270,
almost. First, these are the ranks: 1st, 3rd, and 2nd in the nation. His first 3 years, and the year before that at Boston College, where he was ranked number 1,
right,
first in the nation in total defense. Last year, gave up a little more yardage, 307 total a game for 11th. Still 11th in the nation. I mean, 100 and some teams.
That's great.
That's great. This year, we are averaging, and this is I don't even know what we actually gave up this past game because I didn't look, but 437 yards is what we are averaging giving up a game.
Wow.
And with a 92nd rank.
And that's tough because they did have a lot of guys graduate. You had some guys opt out. You have a lot of guys hurt, but still, man, you got to have that next guy up, that next guy ready to fill in. They actually gave up 417 to Penn State, so a little bit under.
Wow. Gee, whole 20 yards, huh?
Right. So yeah, man. I mean, we held them for 417, but we had 286 total yards of offense. Like, that's terrible. That's Northwestern-esque. 286 yards of offense, 14 first downs. We're only 4 for 12 on 3rd downs, which is killer. You got to pick up those 3rd downs.
And how many 4th downs did we not get?
We were 1 for 3 on 4th down. Yeah. So, is what it is on 4th down. If you're gonna go for them, you got to make them. But
and that one he barely got.
He did. Yep. And penalty wise, that was a plus. I mean,
it was a pretty clean game, really.
Yeah, 1 penalty for 10 yards. So not terrible. And we actually had the ball longer than they did. We had the ball, 24, 25 seconds longer than they did, something like that. But yeah, defense continues to let us down. Offense, Gaddis is completely lost. What he's calling, I don't know what's going on. The only positive on offense, I guess, is I think he finally featured, Hassan Haskins as the as a number one. He still only got 17 carries, but 17 of the
101
27.
yards.
Yeah, 101 yards, 2 TDs. Evans got a few carries. I don't know where Zach Charbonnet was. I think that'll stoke those transfer rumors. I know there's rumors of him maybe going West Coast, going USC, something like that. And again, I can't blame him. I'd hate to see it. I hate to see the kid go because I think he's super talented. But right now, if anybody jumps off this bandwagon, I totally understand. Cade with being hurt, he gutted it out. He came back in. He tried to play. He played, a lot of the third quarter, midway through the fourth quarter before they had to, finally pull him. But he ended up 12 for 25, 91 yards. Milton came in 1 for 3, 21 yards. Just a brutal day offensively all around. Just nothing to hang our hats on. I mean, the tackle leaders were Josh Ross again. When you got a linebacker being your leader, he had 12 tackles. Hunter Reynolds had 11. Barrett, another
as
one,
a safety,
11. Yeah, it's man, just
Yeah,
frustrating.
and Barrett, there was one play I remember Barrett. This was towards the end. This was one of those plays I remember I was talking about where he came up, running back comes up to the line and then it's like nothing there. I'll just go out here to the side, but there's nobody. Barrett actually came in on a blitz.
Yep.
Off the right side, off the edge, and he ran past the handoff.
He did.
Chasing the quarterback.
Yep.
Realized he didn't have the ball, so he turned around and then ran back, not just like back where he came from, but completely around the line. and chased the guy and almost made the tackle. And I'm like, dude, you hit him first time.
Exactly. Like you said earlier, missed tackles. It's plagued this team all season. Frustrating. Again, unfortunately, we're going to end up under 500. I think they said this is the first time in Michigan football history that they've lost to a team who's 0-5. So 160 years of football or 130 years of football, whatever it is. First time to lose, to a team that's 0-5. So drop to 2-4 on the year. Hopefully pick up a win against Maryland next week, which isn't a gimme by any means. The Ohio State game obviously it's hey. And then the crossover game at the end of the year, maybe we'll draw Nebraska or Illinois or somebody like that. But yeah, I mean it's much of the same. Harbaugh, we've harped on it before. Everybody's harping on it. Brian Greasy even tweeted out after the game. He said, "Man, enough is enough."
For sure.
I don't know if you read that or not, but they showed.
I didn't see the tweet, but I know they showed that the graphic on the thing with from when he came in 2015, and it's hideous. I mean, 2015 when he came in, our record versus OSU is 0-5.
Right.
Versus Michigan State's 3-3. Mm-hmm. Versus ranked teams, we are 11-16. Versus top 10 teams, we're 2-12.
Right.
With zero Big Ten championships and how many bowl wins?
Is that awful? I mean, that's.
That's what it's just down. And this was supposed to be your guy to come in, your Michigan man to come in and just take over and start anew, and lead them to where everyone thought they would, and he has just completely went the absolute opposite direction.
Yeah, man, and I read another tweet that was talking about the highest paid coaches in college football. Nick Saban, 9.1 million. Orgeron, 8.7 million. Dabo, 8.3 million, and then Harbaugh, $8 million.
He's over 7. Is it 8? I knew he was between 7 and 8 or somewhere around in there.
And it said after that, it says the interesting part. This is from Joe Pompliano. He tweeted this out. He said the interesting part of that: Saban, Swinney, and Orgeron have won the last 3 national titles, while Harbaugh just lost by double digits to an 0-5 Penn State team.
He couldn't have said it any better.
Right. I mean, what else do you say? I mean, he's got to go. We just keep harping that. I'm just afraid that it's not going to happen. I'm afraid that I think they'll make changes. I think he'll make changes. I think he'll fire Brown, or Brown will step away. But I just have a bad feeling that Ward Manuel's going to basically say, hey, you want to be here, we want you here. And, man, it's just much of the same. The whole, I hate to say this, but I listened to Urban Meyer before the game, and I don't know if
I know you were no, I didn't, but you were texting me about it.
Yeah, man, he listened to what he said. He said, look, it's a culture issue there. He said, I don't know what it is, but he said, I blow it up. He said, blow it up. And somebody said, does that mean you're saying fire Harbaugh? He said, no, I'm not saying that. He said, Harbaugh's a good coach. That's not what I'm saying. He said, but there's underlying issues, whether that be something going on with the boosters, with the culture there. There's something going on that I don't know what it is, but it's a cultural change. Something has to change. And I agree, man. It's got to be blown up. I think he has to go. I think you need to make that transition sooner than later. Get it out there that he is done after this season. So if recruits that he's got in want to jump off, that's fine. Jump off.
Right.
I know there's some who are solid and they're like, hey, we're not leaving. We committed to the program, not the coaching staff. So that's great. Play with those guys that you got. Unfortunately, I think Xavier Worthy, who took the trip to Alabama this weekend, big 4-star receiver coming in. I think he's probably gone. He ain't going to come back.
No, I'm sure.
And
Harbaugh's only got one more year on his contract.
Exactly. So I think you just make the change now. I know a lot of people, obviously Matt Campbell's name's up there, and he had a big win against Texas this weekend. I don't love his offense. I watched pretty much that whole game, the Texas Iowa State game, and I don't love that offense, big tight end sets and things like that. They don't really throw downfield. But man, if you're gonna win, I'll take it. If that's something.
I mean, you know what? Look at our offense right now.
I know.
I mean, I can't really say anything.
I'm with you, man. We just need a winner. And again, Campbell's name's kind of at the top of that list. A lot of people want him to come in there. I don't know what it's going to be. Obviously, the Lions fired Patricia over the weekend. A lot of rumors about, hey, Jim, take that job. You wouldn't even have to move,
Right.
If the Lions want you to take that job, step away and let somebody else come in here. But I don't know.
I've seen his name mentioned between, the Lions and the Jets, too.
I think he's better suited.
Obviously.
I think he's just better suited as an NFL coach. I don't think he knows how to develop talent. I don't think he doesn't do a good job at recruiting. I mean, well, I can't say that. He has pretty decent classes.
He actually does. Yeah, he does have decent recruiting classes. And I don't think it's a problem of recruiting. I think it's a problem of developing his recruiting. His recruits. That's the problem there. And you got to look at it when you really step back and look at his time in college. I mean, he has been coaching for a while, but you take away the NFL when he was there, because obviously in the NFL you ain't got to recruit them. You've got NFL caliber players there who all you've got to do is call up some plays, just be there for the team. But when it comes to coaching in college, you legit have to go out and recruit these kids and sell your program. So if you look at when he is in college, obviously take away the 6 years of a dumpster fire that he, for the most part, has had up in Ann Arbor. But he was at Stanford before that and had a few years coaching previously. And, I mean, for him to have been called a QB guru before he got up there, it's not real hard to win games and be called a QB guru when the main QB that you have coached is one of the best QBs that has played the game in the past, 15 years.
Right.
And Andrew Luck. Like, what do you have to? That would be like me trying to coach Tom Brady. You don't. You let him play the game.
Right.
And it's the same way with Andrew Luck. He didn't have to deal with the trying to coach him. He was a great quarterback to begin with, and his success came from Andrew Luck, in my opinion. Now, I really was hoping that would transfer, just that and him being, at San Francisco and everything, just kind of transfer up to Ann Arbor and have that success, but it just didn't pan out.
No, and again, I'm on that train of it's time to go. I don't want, I'm afraid he's going to get an extension, and I'm afraid.
I don't know if he gets an extension.
I just feel like, that for some reason, Ward Manuel and this whole Michigan man mantra stuff, I think they take that too serious. I think that's part of the cultural problem, and I think it needs to stop.
I think the only reason, in my opinion, that Manuel keeps him up there is because of the simple fact that he doesn't want to admit that his hire didn't work out.
Right, and that was a hire anybody would have made. It's not his fault. Like anybody.
Absolutely.
Anybody in the country makes that hire right there, but
for sure. I mean, look at us. 6 years ago when it happened, we thought just like everybody else that it was going to be, the turning of the tides and the new regime up there, and we were wrong.
Yep. So anyway, man, that's we're 2-4. Got the Maryland game coming this weekend. I'm kind of glad that I have to work. I don't even want to think about watching the game. I mean, I'll record it and watch it when I get back, but just
it's gonna be a tough one.
The frustrations abound. But let's touch a little bit on some programs who know what they're doing. We'll go through the Big Ten a little bit more, man. For Friday, Iowa had a. I was playing well, man. They've won, I think, 4 games in a row, beat Nebraska 26-20 in Iowa City. Indiana goes and beats Maryland. It's an ugly game. Indiana wins 27-11. Penix just did not play well at all, man. 6 for 19 for 84 yards. I don't know if he got hurt. I don't know what happened there, but I know the backup Tuttle came in and threw a couple passes, but I don't know what happened. But that was just an ugly game. I didn't see any of that.
I didn't either.
I think it was on the same time the Michigan game was on, so kind of stayed away from that. Rutgers comes out and beats Purdue in the night game. Nice to see Rutgers get a win after last week. Again, Shiano's got it playing well. And then, unfortunately, man, I texted you when the game started. I said, I think Michigan State upsets Northwestern today, and daggone it if that didn't happen.
Wow.
Northwestern just they don't have the offense. If they get behind, they just don't have that offense that can come back and have some big play strikes. And again today yesterday they were held under 300 yards. They had 285 total yards. Sparty beats them 29-20. It was 23-20, and they tried to trick play late just to try to lateral the ball to see if they could get the ball downfield. And of course the guy fumbles and they run it into the end zone for the 29-20 win. But just ugly. Mel Tucker now has more wins against top 10 teams in his first season than Harbaugh has in 6. So that's a nice little stat there.
Yeah, kudos to him for coming in and doing his part in a situation, to be quite honest, where I really didn't think he would have much his first couple of years.
Right.
But boy, did he prove me wrong on that.
Yeah, man, that drops Northwestern to 5-1. They're still in the running to maybe make it to Indianapolis, but we'll see. We'll see how that goes. Obviously some more big news was the Ohio State game getting canceled, which really affects them because now, man, one more game. If one more game of theirs is canceled, they're probably unable to go to the Big Ten championship game and unable to go to the college playoff. So, of course, as Michigan fans, we're like, hey, man, why don't we have a little outbreak of COVID here? We don't have to get shellacked by them, and they don't get to go to the championship. But no, I mean, I want everybody to be healthy, and I want to see that game played because Ohio State's kids deserve it. They deserve to go. They're the best team in that conference by far.
Obviously you sent me that, and I was like, wow, that would just be the ultimate troll to do that. But
right.
as much as I just, it's just a tough one. I don't want that to happen, obviously. Like you said, Ohio State's players, they deserve to go in there and beat the crap out of Michigan because they're a better team. They are a way better team right now. And they deserve, with what they've everything that's going on this year, but they deserve to go in there to win and get to play for the Big Ten championship. And when that happens, and they do beat, because I'm assuming it's going to be Northwestern, because I'm pretty sure Wisconsin can't play.
Mm-hmm.
They'll kill Northwestern.
Oh,
and
absolutely.
They'll prove, and they'll keep their number 3, number 2, ranking. They'll be in the top 4 for sure. And why wouldn't they be? I mean, they're going to play a good season, and they're a great team, and I really think they do honestly have a good chance of winning it this year.
I do too. Elsewhere around the country, number 2 Notre Dame, knocks off North Carolina. That was a good game for a while. Teams went back and forth. First 2 drives, each team scored. 14-14, and then Notre Dame just kind of. They're pretty good, man. It's funny that their last loss was in Ann Arbor last year, and Michigan just blew them out. Like, I know it was kind of a crappy weather game, but it's like, man, how far a year has, how far we've fallen in a year's time.
Absolutely. It's terrible. And how far have they rose since then? I mean, it's just night and day right there.
Yep, Alabama goes to the Iron Bowl and just waxes Auburn. Not even a contest. Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah, I watched a little bit of that and then turned it off. It was a beat down, so I turned it to another game.
Trevor Lawrence comes back for Clemson, throws for over 400 yards. I think Clemson put up 31 in the first quarter. They end up blowing out Pittsburgh. Florida continued winning. Trask threw 3 more touchdowns, no picks. Again, he's still at the top of my Heisman race. But Alabama's quarterback, man, he's nipping on his heels. He had a great game. He had 302 yards and 5 touchdowns this weekend against Auburn.
He looked good.
For the year, he's got 23 TDs and 3 interceptions. But Trask, I think he's got like 34, 35 touchdowns now, 3 picks. He's still the leader for me at this point, especially with Fields being out. But anyway, new AP poll, man. As far as the Big Ten, Ohio State still sitting at number 3. Of course, like we said, they were kind of idle this week. Indiana number 10, they're 5-1. Let's see, man. I think Northwestern dropped from, what were they last week? 8th. I think they dropped to 16th.
Mm-hmm.
Wisconsin's still hanging in there at number 18. They're 2-1. Just poor Wisconsin. They played 3 games this year. That kind of stinks. But I was up there. I was won 4 in a row. They started off 0-2. They've won 4 in a row. They're number 24. So that kind of rounds out the Big Ten's participation in the AP 25. So any other thoughts from this weekend as far as any other games go from you?
Not really. I talked about who I did see. I saw a little bit of the Iron Bowl. I turned it over to Clemson. I watched a little bit of that Notre Dame and North Carolina game. Bounced back and forth a little bit. Northwestern Michigan State game. After the beat down of Michigan, I was just kind of flipping, trying to take my mind off of it. But overall, decent week in football, other than what happened up in Ann Arbor.
Right. Well, let's segue a little bit. College basketball started this weekend. Obviously, we're going to touch on Michigan a little bit. I'm not going to really touch on any other teams. But Michigan opened up last Wednesday against Bowling Green. Come out with a 96-82 win in Ann Arbor. They don't play an away game, I think, till Christmas. I think they're home for the first month, which is kind of crazy. But, pretty decent win. They shot the ball pretty well. I think they shot about 54% from the field, 37% from 3. Which, if Michigan's going to have success, they have to shoot well from beyond the arc. Sean D. Brown, man, he really impressed me. Did you watch any of the Bowling Green game?
I did. I actually watched every bit of it. And they even said Bowling Green actually was picked, I'm pretty sure, to win their conference this year.
Yep.
So, pretty tough game to start out with. And, we lost a few players last year. Obviously, Xavier Simpson is great little point guard. I'm really going to miss watching him and miss that hook shot. But overall, it was. Had a few, quite a few transfers come in. One of them obviously Sean D. Brown from Wake Forest. And I'm with you. He really impressed me. I think it was a little bit of an issue with whether or not he was going to be allowed to play at the beginning of the season, and the NCAA did grant his waiver, and he was able to play. But I was really wondering what was going to go on with the point guard position, and just because I figured Eli Brooks would be there, obviously, but I was really impressed with Mike Smith too, especially that first game. I mean, he had 16 points, rebound, 8 assists. I mean, a couple more assists, he gets a double-double.
Mm-hmm.
And Shawnee Brown, 19 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists. Overall, I'm pretty impressed with the lineup from top to bottom. Obviously, they've got a lot of work to do, just in general. They've got a few young players, but they also got a few older players. They can maybe teach some of these kids, when they get up there and really get playing well together.
Right, and like you said, with Simpson leaving, Simpson wasn't a huge scorer, but that leadership, that ball handling, ball control, just the way that man was an assist machine. So it was nice to have Mike Smith, the transfer from Columbia, come in. This kid started 4 years at Columbia, averaged 22 a game, I think, last year. So he's a big time scorer. Any division, any league that you can average 22 a game in, that's pretty solid. But he impressed me. He impressed me in that first game. Sean D. Brown came in and he hit 5 of 7 of threes, ended up with 19 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists. Hunter Dickinson in 18 minutes had 11 points, 8 rebounds. I think he threw in a block and an assist. But he really impressed me. At first, when I saw him come in the game, I'm like, man, this kid's huge, but my goodness, is he slow. That footwork's not there yet. But the more I watched him, I'm like, he's slow, but he's really methodical. He's really crisp. He's really clean on what he does. I like the way he gets down the post. I'd like to see him be a little bit more physical, which he was. He was a little bit tonight, which we'll talk about that game in a minute. But that first game, I thought, man, for the first game coming in, it was neat to see Zeb Jackson. He didn't score, didn't have any points. Terrence Williams getting in. Terrence, those two are pretty highly rated, freshmen coming in. Terrence was on the board for points, but I like what I saw. I was a little bit unimpressed with Franz. I didn't think Franz played well.
I didn't either. I really didn't.
He rolled the ankle in the first half, so that might
That's true. He did
things off a little bit.
I agree.
But Livers was Livers, 3 for 8 from threes, put up 17 points, 9 rebounds, 3 assists. So he was super solid. Again, a 96-82 win to start the year. And you're thinking, man, I think I even sent you a text. I was like, man, their second game of the year, they're playing Oakland, just outside of Detroit there. I'm looking at the score, Oakland versus Xavier a couple days back. It was 51-12 Xavier at half. I'm like, well, this is nice. We'll get to see Zeb more. We'll get to see Terrence more. And daggone if they didn't go into overtime with Oakland tonight. Just a totally different game, a different team. Oakland came out. I know you said you didn't see much of the game. You turned on late, but I sat there and watched the whole thing, man. Oakland came out, ran a zone the entire game. And again, if you're a three-point shooting team, you got to knock those threes down against the zone. And unfortunately tonight, Michigan was 8 for 27, just under 30% from threes. They didn't knock those down, and they had 15 turnovers in the first half. They weren't taking care of the ball. Mike Smith got into some foul trouble. It was just a very ugly first half. They actually went into halftime down by 2, 33-31. Little dust up in one of the timeouts, man. Livers was actually yelling at Howard. They were going back and forth. It's like, man, you don't want to see that. You're a senior. Put your head down, take it, lead by example. Okay, guys. But instead, you're there kind of talking back to the coach. I didn't like that. In my opinion, in that moment, Howard should have set him down and maybe not played him the rest of the night. Regardless if that would have cost them a loss or not, pull that kid out and say, we don't do that. That's not how we play here. You're going to sit and watch, and we're going to let these other kids play. But overall, man, like I said, they go into overtime. They beat Oakland 81-71. Sloppy game. I think they ended with 20 or 21 turnovers. And really, it was Hunter Dickinson late in the game in that second half. He had 19 points tonight, all in the second half. And he just took over. They started feeding him. They started finding those creases in the zone and just feeding him, feeding him. Man, he ended up 19 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists. I like this kid. He played 25 minutes tonight.
Yeah.
That was nice to see him in the game. Smith, unfortunately, got in foul trouble, had 4 fouls. So he only had 2 points on 1 of 4 shooting, 4 assists, 3 rebounds. Again, Franz didn't look good. He only took 5 shots. I don't know what's going on with him. Had a couple turnovers. But he had 6 points. He did have 13 rebounds. So he was on the glass pretty good. Livers ended up playing well, 8 for 12, 5 for 7 for threes, 22 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists. Sean D. Brown didn't play great tonight. He was 1 for 10 from threes and 2 for 14 for the game for 5 points. So struggled a little bit, but the whole team kind of struggled, man. It was an ugly.
I didn't. I didn't. Like I said, I didn't see the game yet. I recorded it. I turned it on. I think you sent me a message.
Mm-hmm.
Turned it on. There was like less than 2 minutes left in the game, and it was tied when I turned it on. No, it was 65-67. They were shooting free throws and they tied it. And then Michigan had the last possession, which could have been one of the worst possessions I've ever seen in my life. But they go into overtime and they do win. Overall, like I said, I haven't seen tonight's game, but zone can be tough if you're not used to it. But you got to know how to beat it. Obviously you go to one side and you attack from the back. It's all about moving the zone, swinging the pass across, and then attack from the other side, finding those holes. And for a team, and this is just my opinion, but a team that really relies on outside shooting, it's tough against the zone because you are not going to get those wide open looks like you're going to on balls, man-to-man ball screens and pick and rolls and stuff like that. Because in a zone, you're pretty much you guaranteed you're going to have a guy on you as the ball is coming across, maybe even 2. So you're not going to get those real open outside looks. So a lot of times your 3-point shots are going to have a lot of pressure on them. But you really got to find those openings in that zone and attack it from the backside.
You do, and unfortunately with Smith getting in foul trouble,
that hurts because there's your point guard.
Exactly, and Eli Brooks, he had to handle the bulk of the kind of running the show tonight, and he just didn't play well as far as turnovers go. So, but again, got to win, man. 2-0 is 2-0. There's always some fluke losses at the beginning of the season. Kentucky lost today. Duke or not Duke.
I saw that.
Virginia, Villanova, they've already lost. So that always happens early in the year. Yeah. So, but man,
hopefully, like you said, they're fairly young. They got a couple seniors, but Hunter Dickinson, he's a true freshman.
He is.
So you let him learn this year, and hopefully he has a great season and doesn't comes back. But he comes back, puts on a little bit of muscle. Was he 7'1"? I mean, he puts on 10, 15 pounds of muscle. At 7'1", he is going to be an absolute beast.
And he might not be done growing, man. He might not be done growing.
Absolutely.
At 19 years old.
I'll tell you what, what really was a big difference, I thought, not only, and this is the same from the game the other night to the game tonight, Michigan had 42 points in the paint.
Mm-hmm.
That's not normal for them. I mean, obviously, Howard's trying to change a little bit of what was there when Beeline was there with more presence in the paint, a little bit more physical, but still having those open shots on the outside. But it's always been, live and die by the three since Beeline's been up there, and you don't get a lot of points in the paint. And for them to have 42 and 42 tonight, that really shows you what the bigger guys are doing. And that could be obviously transition points too, because you a lot of layups and transition, and then your big guys getting points in the paint. So
absolutely.
I was kind of happy to see that.
I think the future's bright there. Man, we had Isaiah Todd, sign for the Class 2, and unfortunately he pulled out and went into the developmental league, and good for him, whatever. But man, for next year, we just signed the #1 class in the country, and that's in Howard's second year. He comes in, recruits, and signs the #1 class in the country. We got Caleb Houston coming in from Florida at Montverde Academy, 6'8", 205, power forward. He's the number 8 player nationally, #1 player in the state of Florida. I think this kid's name is Moussa Diabate, out of IMG Academy.
Sounded good.
In Bradenton, Florida. Listen to this kid's size, though, man. He's a power forward, number 20 nationally. He's 6'10", 215.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So he's going to have to
when they signed him, I looked him up, and I was like, wow.
He's going to have to put on a little weight. But you got those 2 5-stars coming in. You got a point guard in Frankie Collins coming in from Nevada, number 59 player nationally. Kobe Buffkin, who I'm excited about, a shooting guard out of Michigan, 6'4", 175. Again, going to have to put on a little weight. Isaiah Barnes coming in from Illinois, a small forward, 6'6", 180. He's the 114th player nationally. And those guys are 4-stars. And then you got Will, I think his last name is Shetter, something like that, Tschetter.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Something like that. But he's a power forward, man, 6'8", 225 out of Minnesota. So they got a good class coming in, man. It's good to see after, I don't think you've been watching Michigan basketball as long as I have.
No, I really started maybe 7-8 years ago, something like that.
So you've got to see some pretty good basketball.
Well, no, it was because I remember back in, was it 12 when we went to the national championship? And they lost, I think it was.
Oh, man. That's hurtful, dude. I just think back about that, and I don't even.
Oh, I know. But I remember I was watching it then, so I may have been about 10 years, 8 to 10 years.
Well, I grew up obviously with the Fab Five, watching those guys play, and then it went through a period of there was just a whole bunch of trouble there at Michigan. Steve Fisher goes, we go through Tommy Amaker and Brian Ellerby, and finally we got to Beeline, and Beeline just turned the program around. It was so much fun to watch, and man, I love Beeline as a coach. I think he was a great coach. He developed that. He took those 3-star kids and made them into superstars.
Yeah, I agree. He's a great coach, classy guy too.
Classy guy, and now you got. Jawan's on another level because this guy's done it, man. This guy was a star in college. He was a star in the NBA. Mm-hmm. He's got a title. It's like he knows what he's doing. He can sell these kids. Hey, man, I've been there. And to get the #1 recruiting class in the country at Michigan. I mean, that's reserved for North Carolina and Duke and Kansas. And Kentucky.
Right. And in your second year too. I mean, they had a good season last year, but you haven't really proven. I mean, they didn't win a Big Ten championship. Obviously, they didn't play the full season this past year, but I mean, it's not like they've had superstar seasons since he's been there. But he has, had a good good numbers up there. But I'm really, like you said, I'm excited about what's coming up for next year, especially when you throw in Hunter Dickinson should be there. He shouldn't go anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
You take Terrence Williams and Zeb Jackson, who are still both going to be there.
Mm-hmm.
Brandon Johns should be there. I don't think he's going to go anywhere. I think he's still got a year or two left. Obviously, Brown and Livers, Smith. Eli Brooks will probably still be there. And Wagner, I don't, unless Wagner really turns it on and just, has an all-star season, I really look for him to come back too.
Based on the first 2 games of this year, he ain't gonna get drafted. I mean, seeing him play right now, he's struggling a little bit. I don't think he's ready. He was going to test the waters with Livers last year, and I'm like, dude, you're not ready yet. It was kind of, I think he should come back. Now, will he? I don't know. His brother's in the NBA. Maybe he wants to go ahead and try to go, and even if he doesn't sign in the NBA, maybe go to the G League for a while.
Maybe.
I don't know.
But either way, whether he does or he doesn't, even if he does, you've got him, Brooks, Hunter Dickinson back, Brandon Johns back, and you got Terrence Williams and Zeb Jackson, plus the number one class coming, in the country coming in.
Right.
And he's got some really good players now. That's a lot to build on, and you could really have some good success there.
And just think, man, Iggy Brazdeikis should still be there.
Yes. Absolutely, he should.
What a stud that kid was. What a stud he was. He was fun to watch. But yeah, good things to come there in Ann Arbor as far as basketball goes. I know I did text you on that last play of tonight's game, and I thought maybe Josh Gaddis had called that play because it was so disorganized. And
that was terrible. And again, I understand it was the zone, but in that situation, swing that ball to the side, swing it to the corner real quick to move the whole zone over there. Then, give him a skip pass or give a quick pass and then hit the backside of it. I mean, exactly. You've got a guy who's 7'1" underneath.
I'm with you, man. I'm with you. But I think it's going to be a fun season. I don't think they're going to win the Big Ten this year, but I think they'll compete. I think they'll be in the top 4. Give these young guys a lot of experience for next year. And next year, I think they should kind of turn it into something special for a few years, especially if you can keep that group together. College basketball is so much one and done stuff. It's so hard to build that dominant team for team year in year out. You don't have those Tim Duncans anymore who are staying 4 years. You know what I mean? That's why I love Duncan. Duncan's my favorite player of all time. Getting to watch him play at Wake Forest, so much fun. And then seeing that transition to the NBA and how much farther ahead of other people he was because he stayed was just something fun to watch. But
it's different nowadays, though.
It's totally different. You see that people are flashing money in front of you. It's hard to say no. It's hard to say no if you're a kid that's never had anything. Coming from maybe a single parent home or something like that, black, white, I don't care what color you are. You're coming from something poverty, and somebody flashes, hey man, we're gonna we'll sign you right now for $2 million. Do you jump all over that $2 million, or do you try to play 2 or 3 years with the risk of getting hurt, but also with the risk of betting on yourself and upping your game to where maybe you're a lottery pick, and maybe that $2 million could have been 30 or 40 million. So it's just one of those things, dude. It'd be hard. I would like to have that problem. I'd like somebody to say, hey, you want $2 million or 20 million? I'd like to have that problem. But anyway, man, that's where we'll kind of wrap it up for this week as far as the show goes. I didn't give any players of the game. I don't think anybody deserved players of the game this week. Going back to the Michigan-Penn State game, I think it was just atrocious.
Did you want to do the Seth Brookhuizen Award?
The Brookhuizen Award, you just give it to the team, man. I think the only plus was Haskins. Haskins, obviously, if we did give a player of the game, it would have to be Haskins.
My Brookhuizen Award this week, honestly, would have been for the whole entire defense for their lack of tackling and containment.
Yeah, I mean, it's just I'm at a loss, dude. I'm at a loss. I don't know.
Yeah.
You don't know what else to say, but unfortunately, that's the case. We got, the good thing is they play again next week, and we'll be disappointed, sure, but will we watch it? Sure.
We will.
So anyway, man, do we want to give a prediction? Do we want to go that route and give a prediction for next week?
Yeah, we'll do a prediction. Let me get Adam in here.
First of all, Adam, what the heck happened this past weekend, man? What's going on? You're bringing us some bad luck, man.
Honestly, I wish I knew the answer to that.
No kidding.
Something to do with the coaching staff.
Oh, maybe you should.
Maybe you should go up there and coach.
Sweet fancy.
My life.
Fancy Moses. All right, man. Well, let's hop into it. Maryland comes into Ann Arbor this weekend. If Michigan loses, this will be their first season ever with no wins at Michigan Stadium. So let's make sure that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
I agree.
What do you got, Adam? You go first, man. What's your prediction for this week?
I know that Maryland is 2-2, which just like us is not good at all. But home field advantage. Not very many fans, but still.
Fans.
I think I'll give it to Michigan. 28-17.
Okay, I like it. Hopefully, man. Hopefully this is the week. Good Lord. I think we've got since we've been talking, since we've had you on here, we've had have we had one win? I think since we had you on here with the Rutgers game.
Yeah, I think that's it.
That's it.
If they lose these last two, you'll never be heard from again. Just kidding, buddy. Just kidding. All right, Bub. What do you think, man? What's your prediction for this weekend?
All right, man. It's not been pretty the whole season. Obviously, Maryland's not had much to talk about either. I hope they can get something going this week. Maybe they can try to get, Haskins going, getting running down the field. Obviously, Milton's probably going to be the one behind center. So I don't really look for a whole lot in the passing game. But overall, I just hope they can tough one out. At least get one win at Michigan Stadium. I'm going to say Michigan does win. I really think it's going to be a lot closer than what I want it to be, and I'm going to say 24-20.
I like it. I'll take it. Michigan opens for some reason as a 5.5 point favorite. I don't know. I don't know why, but I guess just maybe because it's in Ann Arbor. But we've lost our last 4 games at home, which is just mind-boggling. But man, I can't even pick this one. I'm just gonna say a pick 'em. I'm gonna say I don't know. It's a pick 'em to me. I can't even say one team or the other, to be honest with you. Michigan's given me no reason to pick them. I haven't really seen Maryland play much. I know they had, a game early on this season when they put up some points, and Loxley, he can put up some points with Tua's brothers, the quarterback there. He's playing pretty well. I don't know, man. I'm just gonna say, hoping for a good game. I'm hoping for a win, but I can't even give a prediction, man, because I honestly don't know. I'm gonna wrap up the show there. Until next week, guys. Go Blue.
Go Blue.
Go Blue.
All right, guys, that's this week's episode. We appreciate you hanging in there and listening. Again, I know a lot of you guys aren't Michigan fans, and even those who aren't Michigan fans, we thank you for listening because we try to touch a little bit on, the rest of the Big Ten football. I'm sure we could spend a little bit more time on Ohio State, and that's something we'll do in the future. We want as many of you guys listening as we can. We appreciate those who do listen. Again, even if you're not a fan and you're just tuning in to support me and Bub, we appreciate that. But yeah, guys, again, we appreciate it. We'll be back next week with the 23rd episode of Brent Ewing's Hey Buddy podcast.